ladies, well, we're going to dive in. I chose tonight's topic, clear the clutter, clear the mind, because I do feel like that it is a very important topic to help us stay focused on our priorities, on our goals, all the things that we want to achieve in our life. And clutter actually can hold us back. So I'm just going to dive in. So the first one that I want to bring up is the mind-body connection. Clutter impacts the brain. And when I say clutter, it's spaces in your house. This is physical clutter. It could be closets, rooms, any place that you're seeing a lot. Like you see these areas, these spaces a lot. This is visual reminders of disorganization, and it's taxing on your brain because your brain has to process the information it's seeing, and its goal is to maintain order for your environment. That's what the brain wants to do, is maintain order. So if we're constantly seeing disorganization around us in our spaces that we're supposed to feel safe and calm, then it throws off the mind-body connection, which in turn we can feel anxiety, stress, and even depression from that experience that we are dealing with. Number 2 on my list is it helps with clarity and focus in our everyday life, because if we're not constantly dealing with the stress and anxiety of the disorganization that our brain has to kind of always process, we can focus more on the daily tasks that we need to accomplish, because I'm sure all of us have a million things to do to accomplish daily, weekly, monthly. And whenever we're dealing with the chaos that we're living in, then it's hard to stay focused on our daily task and our goals that we want to achieve. So what we need to do is reduce distractions to help us stay focused on our priorities, on the things that we find important, that we want to achieve. Number 3 is emotional benefits. So there are psychological benefits, like reduces your anxiety, and it helps you stay motivated towards the goals you want to achieve. And here's a big one. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. So if we are clearing the clutter, we have a sense of accomplishment. And I truly believe, from even experience, that when you always are working, or you're always receiving that sense of accomplishment with your task, with your goals, with all the things, when you're feeling like you are accomplishing things, it helps you have that sense of happiness, fulfillment. So it's kind of a domino effect. If we're always dealing with the chaos around us, we're not staying focused, we don't have clarity on our daily task, we're feeling distracted, we're having anxiety, we're having whatever the trigger is for you, and then we're losing that sense of accomplishment. Number 4 on my list is effective decluttering strategies. I want to go over some. There are many methods for decluttering. There's a method that I want to bring up. It's called keep, donate, discard method. And then there's the tidying method. Now, these are the ones that are important. They're out practice. There are a lot of methods out there with different strategies, but I'm trying to just keep it simple. And these are the things that I do. There's the keep, donate, discard method, and then the tidying up method. I want to go over tips on how you decide what to keep, donate, or discard in that method. So if there's things in your house that you want to keep, we need to ask ourselves, how valuable is this? if it's in your space, if it's in your spaces, in your closet, in your bedroom, in your living room, in your kitchen, it's sitting on your counters, whatever it is, or have you used it recently? How valuable is it to you? And if it's not, if it's not helping you feel good, change your life, whatever it is, then it might be time to donate or discard. Donating if things are in good quality, right? Like if things can go to help and serve someone else, let's do it. That makes me feel better than discarding. But let's be honest. If things have holes in them or things need to be thrown away, let's throw that sucker away. We got to get rid of it because it's only causing us chaos in our brain. So the more that we are clearing our spaces, trying to be as minimum as possible, we're going to feel so much more free in our everyday life, and we're not going to feel so much chaos in our brain. Number 5, and now we're going to go over routines, but establishing decluttering routines. When we are building a strategy with creating routines on, let's say, the keep, donate, or discard, we're going to have to see what's a good strategy for you in your lifestyle. But some examples could be, once a week, I'm going to spend 30 minutes or an hour doing putting items in boxes. If it's the keep box, but I just don't know where it needs to go, or it's the donation box, or it's the trash. So in 3 different areas. And I do this strategy in my garage. I have a box that is I'm keeping, but I don't know where it goes. So it's a box and it's filling up. Okay. But whenever I schedule time, I will go back to that box and I will put things in its place to where it's not stealing my environment. I'm not visually seeing it to cause me anxiety. So I put it in a space that I don't know where it goes in the garage right now, and it will find a space eventually that I feel accomplished about. If things that I'm like, I don't need that, it needs to go, it will go in a donation box in the garage, and whenever I schedule time, I will make a drop wherever that is, wherever I want to donate it to. And the things that boxes, random things that are broken and all that, it's got to go. We've got to get rid of it. So if you schedule time out daily, weekly, or monthly, it really doesn't matter. But as long as you have a strategy to help you feel accomplished. Okay, I might not get to this task, this keep, donate, or discard method. I might not get to that unless it's one time a month. And that's fine. Because if you do that consistently, it's going to help you feel accomplished, and you're going to make a dent in it. You're going to make progress in it. So let's talk about the tips on the tidying up, because chaos happens in our house. Messes happen in our house, in our daily lives, like leaving cups out, or putting clothes on the bed, or put them on the closet floor, or whatever. But we create messes in our everyday life, especially moms, because chaos is all around you with toys and all the things. So tidying up helps you feel put together. So you got to figure out what a time of the day that's going to help you walk through your house and do the things, the checklist that makes you feel good. I can't answer that part for you, but for example, for me is I can't go to bed with dishes in the sink. That makes me feel accomplished. So if I do it before I go to bed, where I put all the dishes in the dishwasher, turn the dishwasher on, that is part of my bedtime routine, and it makes me feel accomplished. I can't go to bed. I told Jordy this one time, and things have changed. So in the different seasons, things change. But I told Jordy one time, I said, I can't go to bed with toys on the floor. That no longer matters to me because, I have to prioritize. But I still try to keep them in areas. So with the toys all over the floor, if I go to bed and there's toys everywhere, that causes anxiety. But I know, because I'm learning me, and I need you to learn you, what makes you feel good. I know that if I keep a section of her toys in certain areas, one certain area in the living room, one certain area in the den, her bedroom, as long as I keep them in that area, I still feel accomplished. So the tidying up, what is it going to, so the question is that I need you to ask yourself, what do you need to do daily that's part of the tidying up method that helps you wake up the next day and feel accomplished? And it doesn't have to be a lot, but just starting doing that. And then what can you do to help declutter your spaces in your rooms, whatever room it is? If you feel like that the kitchen needs to be a starting point, or the bedroom, or the closet, just a starting area. And then start the method. Okay, well, I have an hour a week to give to that method, and I'm going to go through my closet, and I'm going to finish the closet. I'm going to spend an hour a week in doing that method, and then whatever I get done, I move on. I move on with that. I do a drop off, whatever, and then I do it again. And just building that consistency helps you feel so much better. And then over time, you're going to see a big difference. And then it's going to make you feel so much more free, so much more focused, where you can focus on your goals, focus on the priorities that you have. Number 6 that I have is creating functional spaces. Now, we have to also, just like I literally just gave an example about how with Selena's toys, I have to create functional spaces. So I can't expect myself to put all of her toys up every night, because that's not functional for me and for my house. So you got to think about what spaces in your house. If you have to have your papers, your work papers out on your desk or out on your counter throughout the week because that's functional for you, that's fine, and we accept that. But we have to create spaces that are efficient, and spaces that we know that we're frequently used items. So like her toys or your work papers or whatever. And it's fine. We can self-accept that. We can accept, hey, I have to have this. I have to have my clothes being folded through the week. Now, I don't fold my clothes through the week. I fold them on the weekend only. So I got a big old pile to fold every weekend because that's what's efficient for me. And it works. It works for us. But if you are like, well, I like to get some folding done every day, then you can create a space that has that laid out. But as long as you're doing it with a strategy, as long as you're doing it to where it feels good, you feel like you're making a dent, you feel like you're working towards the goal of getting things put up and put away. Because that is what we want, is to feel accomplished, And the only way we do that is by creating a strategy and implementing, and it's going to relieve so many other things that we could struggle with in our mindset because of the chaos that we have to constantly see and be reminded of.